The news ticker flashes, breaking. Beijing declares, no fly, no sail zone east of Taiwan. In the pre-dawn hours, the People's Liberation Army Navy forms a steel cordon around Taiwan. J-20 stealth fighters prowl the skies, a silent warning. The world wakes to a crisis decades in the making, now erupting at terrifying speed. This is not a drill. Civilian airliners reroute, shipping halts and insurance premiums soar. In Taipei, air raid sirens wail, sending millions to shelter. President Tsai Ing-wen appears on TV, declaring, Taiwan will not bow to intimidation. Amphibious assault ships mass in Fujian, tanks and troops visible on their decks. The region is blanketed in tension. In Okinawa, US F-35s scramble. The USS Ronald Reagan steams toward the crisis. Pentagon officials reaffirm America's ironclad commitments. The world holds its breath as every move risks war. Beijing calls the operation a police action, warning outsiders not to interfere. The rhetoric is sharp. China dares the world to cross its line. For millions in Taiwan and anxious nations nearby, the question is no longer if the storm will break, but when, and how devastating it will be. The shadow of the dragon has fallen. Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines watch with acute dread. Their geography makes them frontline states. Japan's southern islands are just over 100 kilometers from Taiwan. A Chinese-controlled Taiwan threatens its sea lanes and security. Prime Minister Kishida convenes his National Security Council. The Taiwan Strait is a core national interest. South Korea, focused on North Korea, now faces a regional dilemma. Conflict over Taiwan would devastate its economy and force tough choices about US forces. President Yoon strengthens ties with Washington and Tokyo, recognizing the crisis's regional stakes. The Philippines, with islands less than 200 kilometers from Taiwan, sits at a vital choke point. A Taiwan conflict could trigger a refugee crisis and spill over onto Philippine territory. President Marcos Jr. pivots back to the US, granting expanded base access. These three nations, all US treaty allies, depend on freedom of navigation and the rules-based order a Chinese takeover would upend. Trilateral meetings, joint exercises, and intelligence sharing have multiplied in response to Beijing's assertiveness. No longer distant observers, they are now frontline responders. The flames are at their doorstep. Military planners see three main scenarios, each more dangerous than the last. First, a full blockade. China encircles Taiwan, cutting off air and sea traffic to strangle its economy. Second, limited missile strikes and cyber attacks, precision strikes on military targets, crippling infrastructure, and a massive cyber offensive to paralyze Taiwan's response. Third, a full-scale amphibious invasion. Hundreds of thousands of PLA troops cross the strait under fire, preceded by intense bombardment. Each scenario tests Taiwan and its allies differently. Blockade challenges political will. Missile strikes test resilience. Invasion demands raw combat power. For Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines, the question is not just if they'll help, but how. Their responses depend on military capability, political constraints, and Beijing's level of aggression. The path from blockade to invasion is a ladder of escalation. Each rung brings the region closer to catastrophic war. The stakes could not be higher. In a blockade, Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines play crucial support roles. Japan's advanced navy and patrol aircraft track Chinese fleet movements, providing vital intelligence for U.S. operations. The Philippines becomes a key staging ground. U.S. forces use its bases to launch surveillance flights and coordinate naval movements. The Philippine military monitors the southern flank, reporting on Chinese activity near its islands. Manila's firm stance and U.S. access send a message of regional unity. South Korea faces pressure to stay neutral but could provide intelligence and logistical support, freeing up US and Japanese assets. The alliance's weakness: lack of unified command and potential political division. China would exploit every seam, using economic and diplomatic pressure to isolate each country. Success depends less on firepower and more on political unity and coordinated action. Isolating the aggressor, not the victim, is the key. If China launches missile strikes, Japan and South Korea shift to active defense. Japan's Aegis destroyers and Patriot missile systems form a critical shield, protecting both Japan and US bases. These bases are launchpads for any US air campaign. defending them is vital. South Korea's layered missile defense, designed for North Korea, now helps shield the peninsula and US forces from Chinese strikes. Robust defenses complicate Beijing's calculations, forcing the PLA to account for a resilient allied posture. The Philippines, lacking advanced missile defense, provides early warning and basing for US systems, extending the defensive umbrella south. New EDCA sites could host US THAAD or Patriot batteries, protecting key hubs. The Philippine military assists with search and rescue and battle damage assessment. The alliance's limitation: China's vast missile arsenal can overwhelm even the best defenses. Success depends on intercepting missiles and quickly destroying launchers, a US responsibility. The first hours would be chaotic and costly. The region braces for impact. A full-scale invasion is the ultimate test, demanding direct, overwhelming response. Japan's security laws allow collective self-defense. Its forces would engage PLA ships and aircraft near its islands. Japanese submarines hunt Chinese vessels, fighters contest the skies, and ground forces defend key islands. The Philippines becomes a frontline partner. US forces use its bases to strike Chinese amphibious forces, turning geography into a strength. The Philippine military defends its territory and secures vital sea lanes. South Korea, wary of North Korean opportunism, keeps most forces at home, but provides crucial support, allowing US access to ports and airfields and helping secure sea lanes. The alliance's strength combined naval and air power, forcing China to fight on multiple fronts. Its weakness distance and China's ability to concentrate force nearby. The outcome hinges on whether Taiwan, with immediate allied support, can blunt the initial assault. The first days would decide everything. The world would watch history unfold. In every scenario, the US is the linchpin. Its intelligence network provides early warning and real-time data. This gives Taiwan and allies precious time to mobilize and prepare. US long-range strike capabilities, carriers, bombers, submarines, can reach deep into China, deterring aggression. Multilateral exercises like Balikatan, Keen Sword, and Freedom Shield build interoperability and trust. These are rehearsals for war, ensuring allied forces can operate as one. The US military is stretched thin, and its bases are prime targets for Chinese missiles. Political will in Washington is never guaranteed. Beijing knows this. The US role is most effective when it enables regional allies to lead their own defense. The goal: a networked security architecture with Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines empowered and supported. Only together can they deter or defeat aggression. The alliance's strength is its geography and diversity. US, Japanese, and South Korean navies form a formidable maritime force. Bases in Japan and the Philippines create the first island chain, a barrier complicating China's plans. The PLA must contend with threats from multiple directions, stretching its resources. Weaknesses remain: no formal trilateral defense pact, historical tensions, and slow democratic decision-making. China exploits these divisions, using economic leverage and rapid, centralized decision-making. The PLA enjoys unity of command and operates from its own mainland, with overwhelming force nearby. But China's military is untested in modern war, and autocratic systems can be brittle under stress. The US and its allies have decades of joint operations and battle-hardened forces. The fight would pit China's concentrated mass against the alliance's distributed, experienced, and technologically advanced network. The outcome would depend on unity, speed, and resilience. The world would witness a clash of systems. Alone, Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines cannot stop a Chinese invasion, but as a united alliance with the US, they can make the cost of aggression unacceptably high. Deterrence requires real power, seamless coordination, and unwavering will. Japan must strengthen its capabilities. South Korea must balance threats and deepen cooperation. The Philippines must modernize and operationalize its strategic location. The US must provide leadership, high-end capabilities, and a visible commitment. The alliance's credibility rests on Beijing believing it would face a coalition, not just Taiwan. Peace in the Taiwan Strait will be preserved by strength, not hope. The price of peace is eternal vigilance, and today, that price has never been higher.